good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It all depends on your location. So today we are going to start with the countdown to the national election for the presidential, governorship, House of Assembly, Senate, and House of Rep elections. Welcome to Naija Matters. So today, like I said before, we are going to start with all this.
This is Politics Today live on Channel
So let's take it from here.
in Abuja. Let's get to it and remind you that we're keeping tabs on the 2023 election, which is now 25 days away. Oh, interesting. Oh, elections are here. So for those of you who are still thinking that maybe you still have some days, no, you do not. INEC has extended the deadline for the collection of PVC. Why don't you take that opportunity, get your PVC and experience getting your leaders into position in 2023. So it's 25 days and we are counting down. Countdown with me, hashtag Nigeria decides, everyone. Tonight, we have the privilege of speaking with a leader of the APC in the National Assembly. And he's a leader of the APC also in Kano State. There are a lot of issues. He's one of those who are voiced out, no matter what the crisis or the situation may be. He was in Daura to meet with the president. He's one of those who think that the CBN governor is not doing the right thing. He's one of those who also think that APC in Kano and in the north will only stand a chance if they unite. And tonight we'll be speaking with the leader of the House, the majority leader in the House, Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogua. He joins me live right here in Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Honorable, for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, Shewan Akimbale. Good evening, viewers and listeners.
Maybe I should begin, before I get into the affairs of your party, I should begin with the response. You released a statement shortly after the president met with the CBN governor, and you were in Daura with the governor of Kano State to consult with the president. But you said that you do not accept what the CBN governor has done, and you want him to fall in line. What exactly do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think you are right, Shewan, and based on the release that I have made yesterday, it was like in a very swift response or reaction to the statement issued by the central bank governor, who he said that he has gotten the mandate or the approval of Mr. President to extend the expiry date for the old Naira note exchange and the swap process by 10 days. Mm-hmm. And naturally, as a committee, as a legislative committee with the full mandate of the House, then I needed to react because it has fallen squarely on the subject matter that I'm in charge. And what I said is not only my position as a member or my position as leader of the House of Reps, is the position of the committee and by extension the position of the House of Representatives. And no more, no less. What I simply said is that that extension by 10 days for us is inconsequential. It's a mere gimmick or an approach by the CBN governor perhaps to water the ground for some other reasons. But what the House is out for in the first place, there was a summons inviting the central bank governor legitimately and by the orders of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was supposed to honor the summons of the House. He did not. We gave him a second chance to come. He refused to come. And on the strength of that, the House was actually worried about his own stance. And at the end, the Speaker made it very, very clear to the public and on the floor of the House at plenary that definitely the House will have no option than for the Speaker to use the instrumentality of our legislative powers to invoke relevant sections of the law to sign a warrant that will compel, will direct the Inspector General of Police to compel appearance on the part of the CBN governor. This is the position of the law. And when he made that release, as far as we are concerned, it does not also come in line with the position of the law that established the central.
What Femba Gadiamila said on the floor, is that a position of the House to threaten the CBN with a warrant of arrest or the position of the entire House of Reps?
Oh, that is exactly the position of the House, because
recommended to him by the committee.
Not by the committee. It was the position of the House after a lengthy debate on the floor of the House.
So it wasn't Femi Gbajabiamila's position?
It was not his position. It was a ruling. It was a ruling arising from discussions among members of the House on the floor of the House.
Does the House have the power to seek a warrant of arrest on the CBN governor?
Oh, absolutely, yes. It's a constitutional power given to the Speaker of the House through the instrumentality of legislative functions and duties. He has that right, just as like the Senate President has the same in the Senate. The House of Representatives, through the Speaker, can issue a warrant through the Inspector General of Police to compel any Nigerian, not even a public servant like the central bank governor, any Nigerian, including your humble self, when there is a cause for you to appear before the House.
I'm a private citizen.
Oh, yes, of course, you are a private citizen, but you are a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Yeah, but
if the House,
there are exceptions to people like us.
You can't be exceptional as long as you call yourself Nigerian. As long as there is an issue that desires or warrants your appearing before the House or its committee, then definitely you can be compelled to appear before it through an arrest warrant. So what the Speaker did was like using the powers he has conferred on him by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not even by our rules,
what happens
by the Supreme
to the independence of the CBN? What happens to the independence of the CBN?
The independence of the CBN does not fall beyond the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. No one can be greater than the law.
So
not even the CBN.
What is the House now, leader? What is the House asking the CBN to do, the governor to do?
What we're asking the CBN governor to simply do through the committee is for the CBN governor to appear before this committee, interact with this committee, brief us, give us reasons why he must issue this kind of policy at this period. Why do you want to redesign Naira when you have less than 30 days to elections? Why do you have to set a deadline that contradicts the position of the CBN Act, which established the bank, and yourself as governor of the bank? The Act is very clear. Very, very obviously clear in black and white that Section 20, Sub 3 of the Act says that notwithstanding any part of the law, notwithstanding any part of this Act, that when the President allows for a redesign or change of Naira note, that can happen. But the old Naira note must be allowed to operate for as long as they are in circulation until and unless when they are naturally mopped up from circulation. Of course, you can fix a time for them to cease being a legal tender. You cannot use it perhaps in a plaza or in a filling station to buy and trade with it. But the value of the Naira, whether in old currency or in a new currency, remains sacrosanct, and it has to be redeemed when presented at any commercial bank.
But leader, what happened to the consultation by the CBN with the National Assembly before they made that public? Because the defense of the CBN is that there were consultations with the CBN, with the National Assembly before they made the pronouncement. Why is it that it is now that the National Assembly is finding fault in the work of the CBN, which they have given reasons for the redesign?
You see, Sheun, I want to be very, very frank with you. I've been a very frank person. And I want to tell you, except for discussions to do with the cashless policy of government, which of course is a global process, is a global system that we want to also encourage Nigerians to also have same in our economy. National Assembly was never consulted one way or the other, even through our relevant committee. The central bank, I want to put it to you, did not consult even our relevant committee, standing committee, as to how to redesign Naira and as to how to put deadlines and issues surrounding the issue of the redesign of Naira. We were not consulted. I am number 3 in the hierarchy of leadership of the House of Representatives. I think if there was such discussion, I should have been told. And I believe the Speaker, who is number 1 in the hierarchy of our leadership, if he was consulted with the effect to redesign in Naira and with the effect to also giving a deadline that contradicts the position of the law.
But does the law say that the central bank should consult the National Assembly?
Yes. Not only the law, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says that the central bank, being an financial institution of the land, the Affairs Bank, must at any time, at all times, when they want to embark on a policy, new policy, they must have to consult relevant committees or the leadership of the National Assembly before they undertake such policies. They did in the case of cashless policy. You remember we invited them. The governor was not able to make it as usual, and he let us send the deputy governor, the lady from Naija State. She came and explained all these things to us. For that, I can say we were consulted. Cashless policy of the government. But I want to tell you without any fear of contradiction, Sheun, that no one man, no one person, whether the governor or anybody acting in his own capacity, has approached the National Assembly or the House of Representatives to be in particular about the redesign of Naira. It was purely their business, and we feel taking this process at this moment is going to be very detrimental, not only to the economy of the country, it will be detrimental to the security of the nation, it will be detrimental to the close-by general election coming. Why at this time? Except if they have other pecuniary reasons.
Do you suspect that?
Oh, yes, I do. For someone who wanted to be president and wanted to even purchase form for nomination and did not get it, I won't be surprised if the CBN governor will now have, is now trying to get a second chance to undermine or to scuttle the process of election. This is quite possible.
Is it a suspicion that you have or that your party has?
This is my personal suspicion, and I believe a good number of my party members have this suspicion. Justifiable.
Your presidential candidate has this kind of suspicion too.
I have not discussed with him so far.
No, but he made that very popular.
Of course.
And he said that there are saboteurs.
Not only.
Just a moment. He said there are saboteurs in the party, and there are some people using some of these mechanisms, in fact, that are working with the PDP, that the PDP, the campaign council had come out to say the PDP working in cahoots with members of your party or some elements in government are trying to sabotage the government and the party.
Sean, I agree very entirely with the presidential candidate who said so. Every reasonable person, every reasonable Nigerian can come up to this analysis, to this explanation as to why engaging into redesign of Naira when you have less than 30 days to election. Why this time? You will remember that not even politicians who require some minimum standard or requirement of some cash at hand to operate, even the INEC will require cash to transport some logistics, fuel, diesel and all other things. The security, their services, their operational allowances are paid in cash. So I wonder how you can create this problem at a very critical period when apparently you cannot be able to cope with the demands, even for the new Naira notes to be injected into the system.
Does your suspicion include that this perhaps is political?
Of course it is political.
You think that the elements in the opposition are backing this?
It's not even about our presidential candidate. It is about the entirety of all the people running elections under the platform of the APC as a ruling government, as a ruling party. As a ruling party, you cannot separate the government from the party itself. So when an institution of government like the central bank is embarking on a policy that is quite unpopular, a policy that is apparently suspicious, then this will definitely create a lot of problems or injury to the ruling party, because an arm of the government, an institution of the government is now being seen working against the interests of Nigerians. So central bank and the governor of central bank, by what they are doing now, we look at them justifiably to simply mean working with ulterior motives, working to undermine the fortunes of the APC, because as an institution of government, Nigerians will generally judge the central bank as working against the government itself and the ruling party.
The CBN got the permission of the president to embark on this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, presumably, I presume.
No, but you were in Daura yesterday. The CBN governor was there before you people, and he got the approval of the president, and he made it public that he's gotten the approval of the president for an extension. There was, in fact, at some point, a controversy when the Minister of Finance said she wasn't aware about the CBN policy. The presidency said he was aware, and he gave the approval. In all of these things that you said you are suspicious of, the president has consistently said he's backed the CBN governor, and he's given his approval.
You see, what I always say is this, that the president as chief executive of the government, or the president as CEC, who of course is the leader of the party, on one hand, I want to also look at the central bank with the MFLA as governor of that bank on another hand. Perhaps when the president is presented with misleading briefing, if you are the president, for instance, and you are presented with a misleading briefing, a briefing that is not quite express for you to even understand the implications therein, then definitely the president is bound to act in the wrong direction. So that is my suspicion. So and that is my own understanding. Let me tell you this.
It comes to something.
Just one point. Just one point. Yeah. So it goes to confirm to you, if the president was actually briefed ab initio of what are the implications and the outcomes of the Naira redesign, then definitely he wouldn't have come now again to say, oh, let's extend it by 10 days, which means there is an issue. If the president was actually briefed in the right direction and he had agreed and given approval for the redesign of Naira with a specified deadline, then certainly the president wouldn't have come up with another idea, oh, let's give them another 10 days for the deadline. So, and that is what we're even saying, that even with the 10 days extension, that is not the position of the law, and that cannot be acceptable by the parliament. We cannot accept it as a committee, and the House of Representatives also will not accept it because it contradicts the position of the law.
CBN Act, what does it say?
The CBN Act simply says that when there is a redesign or change of a Naira note, it does not mean for the CBN to push out the old Naira note by force outrightly within a blink of an eye. The two notes must be allowed to operate in pari passu, shoulder to shoulder, until when the old Naira note naturally vanishes in the system. Then you continue to work. Right. But in a situation whereby the new Naira note is not available, marketers, businessmen, farmers, civil servants who receive salaries are complaining of inavailability of this new Naira note. You cannot just fix a deadline and say, oh, this thing ceases to be a legal tender and it loses its value automatically. So you can stop using it as a legal tender. But the value must be redeemed on presentation at any commercial bank.
Godwin Emefiele has gotten the nod of President Buhari in Daura, meaning that whatever decision the CBN is taking stands. You have issued a warrant, you have threatened a warrant of arrest on the CBN governor as a house. The president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, so he controls the police and controls the affairs of state. Now, the president has given his approval. Where do you stand? If you issue a warrant of arrest on the CBN governor, where the president controls the police and the armed forces, where do you stand? It does look like he has politically knocked you off the table.
No, in my own view, I don't think the president will act contrary to the position of the law. Muhammadu Buhari is one president that has consistently said his position about the respect for the rule of law. So I always repeat the fact that if Mr. President is misled in taking an action, he is human. Then definitely when you provide explanation to clarify the position of the law, like in this case, which I have. Even yesterday in my discussion with Mr. President, I told him pop and plain the position of Section 20, Sub 3 of the CBN Act. And what Emefiele is doing is a direct affront on the provision of this act that establishes the CBN itself and the position of the governor. So I'm sure Mr. President will be one humble leader to understand when he's misled, and he should be able to now come and look at the right thing and take the right
step. So what does
like he's doing now?
Where will the house go from here now?
Of course, we will go we will go to the next level, and the next step for us is to insist that the CBN governor appears before this committee, and if he comes to the committee, he has to also have respect for the rule of law. He must have to have respect for what is provided for in the CBN Act, and what is provided is pop and clear that the Naira note cannot be forced out of the system. The old Naira note, it must be allowed to just vanish.
So what window are you given?
We don't have, the only window we are giving to the CBN, like I said, is like if he communicates to the speaker between now to Tuesday, when we are going to be sitting, that yes, he's now coming to engage with the House committee, then fine, we will give him that leverage.
If he doesn't?
If he doesn't, then obviously we will now lay our interim report before the House, and the speaker will be under obligation, moral obligation, to write, to sign the warrant of arrest to compel the CBN government.
I thought you guys are in recess.
We are not in recess. We decided, the Senate has gone on recess, but we decided not to go on recess because of this critical matter that borders on the lives and livelihood of our people. When people are crying all over, outcries all over, go to the markets. You have foodstuffs nobody can buy. You have old money nobody can take. It's like the economy is in shambles.
The CBN governor has said 1.9 trillion of the notes in circulation had returned to the CBN. So it's just about 900 billion that they are hoping will be mopped up and gotten back to the system. There are those who think and criticize your party that it's just some leaders of your party that are not happy with the decision of the CBN to get the old Naira note. One of the reasons is terror financing that the CBN gave, and that the fact that there are those who are stockpiling this money for ulterior motive. And the opposition is saying the reason why some leaders of your party are not happy with this is because of the issue of vote buying. Is that the reason why your party is jittery about this policy?
No, that cannot necessarily be. That is not necessarily our reason. One, like I said, I'm speaking in double capacity. As a member of the House of Representatives, vis-a-vis to my responsibility or duty as chairman of this committee. If, for instance, what the CBN governor is now saying by way of press releases or statements on the street, because I look at this statement as a street statement. When the institution of the legislature, the parliament, the voice of the people is inviting you legitimately to come and address us, interact with us, provide this explanation to us, and you are shying away from that responsibility. So we will take all those things you're saying as baseless.
So your party is unhappy with what is going on.
That is
thinking that it will jettison the chances of your party in winning this election.
That is just on one hand. But when I speak about the policy, jettisoning the policy, the process of election at large, I'm not talking simply because as an APC member.
Does it not, so honorable, does it validate, therefore, the talks within your party that there is some discordant tune and the fact that the frustration coming out of some of the leaders of your party is such that maybe the president is not 100% with your candidate, and there are those who think that those who ask that the president should campaign, and the president has said he's going to campaign with your candidate in 10 states, but a few states that the president is being obviously absent. Does that validate the fact that maybe your party is not one on the mandate of Bola Tinubu?
I think all these things are mere speculations. The president is an individual. The president has the right to come out to the press and to the public to state his position. Nobody stops him if he has anything against our candidate. But as far as I'm concerned, I will only use what is available to me. For as long as we started the process, right from the day we elected our flag bearer to today, I've never found any reliable statement from Mr. President or his own spokespersons enunciating to the fact that he's against our...
But is it possible that some people within the president or around the president are doing things that are ulterior to the plans and the...
Oh, that could be possible. That could be possible. But for the president as a person, or for the president as the leader of the party, and the head of Nigeria's government today, which is an APC government, one cannot adduce to any fact as to whether he's against the flag bearer or not. For me, I have attended several rallies, several campaign programs with Mr. President, like the one he did in Jos and the other one he did in Yola, Adamawa State, where he has supported the president and asked Nigerians to vote for our party's candidate. So I don't think Mr. President will have anything against the position or against the acceptability or the electability of our presidential candidate.
Is there a worry about the northern vote for your candidate?
Worry for what? We don't have any worry. I have said this time without number that northern Nigeria is a progressive platform in Nigeria's politics, especially when you speak of a state like my own, Kano. It's a very progressive state. We are aggressive in our programs. We are a radical state where we use parameters, practical parameters, to decide our future, to decide our election decisions. We have done that in the past. I have made mention of the case of 1992 when I was first elected to the House of Representatives with Bashir Usman Topa of blessed memory, who contested under the NRC. And Kano people decided, and their decision was on the basis of what was practically...
because the reason why I asked that, Honorable, is that there seems to be a consensus of the northern elite to go not with your candidate.
I'm not aware of this consensus. And if we talk of the northern elite, I am only a political elite as far as I'm concerned. I am a political elite because I can be counted as one of the political big names in the northern part of the country. And there was no such...
Are you resolving the issues within your party, though?
We don't have any issue for now. We don't have any issue for now. APC is united. Our presidential flag bearer remains Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who has gone around states in the north where he was widely accepted. You have seen the kind of unprecedented unprecedented reception he was accorded in Kano. In fact, I want to say that no other state has given such kind of reception than the one we offered him in Kano. So we don't have any issue. APC is now united. You may not perhaps rule out some minor skirmishes here and there that may have to do with local interest at the respective states or at the sub-nationals. But as far as the acceptability and our commitment to elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as our next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the platform of our party, that is completely not under any question.
Majority Leader of the House of Representatives, Honorable Hassan Adodogua, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure being with you.
I appreciate it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear, what the explanations are as far as the redesign or coloration of the Naira is concerned. So, a lot of people are in for, while the other ones are against. So, but on the whole, it all depends on what is playing out here. Because, from my understanding, what is playing out now has to do with the laws that guides or that regulates, the printing or recoloration or what have you, introduction of new currencies into the polity, and the deadline that was created, fused also with the timing, the timing that was used. So, like this man said, he said the timing is quite very wrong because, as we all know, it's a very wrong timing because this is a hot political era that's ongoing in Nigeria, and apart from that, the short duration of time that was given to submit or to turn in all the currencies or the naira is just too short. Even if you ask the ordinary, let's say, traders, for example, to turn in all the old currencies that they have, the cash that they have within that shortest possible of time, it's going to cost. There's going to be some sort of friction. You know how the system works in Nigeria. Everything is always very choked up and bureaucratic when it comes to little things, stuff. Even ordinarily, just to go to the bank even to collect money, you can stay on the queue there for hours and hours. If it's not taken, maybe you waste your whole day. In the hall of a bank in Nigeria. Talk less of telling because this whole thing, you get a CV because coming to real look at it in a country like Nigeria where most people don't actually have a bank accounts because people like to keep their money in cash or do their businesses in cash. You are expecting me or expecting every other person to take all their cash, all their bundles of cash, and come and queue up in your bank to rechange their money back to or deposit their money in their bank accounts in order for them to get the new ones back. But at the end of the day, after depositing that money, getting their money back also or getting some cash back, to use, from the machine or ATM, becomes another problem. Because even in the ATM, I was told there's no cash available as far as the new currency is concerned. And those that goes to the bank also, the same thing. They are experiencing the same thing. So I don't really know what they are really trying to do. So because from the news we are getting every now and then is that maybe they are still going to lift this whole whatever and allow the whole thing to flow until this whole thing just fade out again, because it doesn't really make sense to give that short a time, to it's like asking everybody to bring in their money and get a new one, and it's not like the new ones are even available. So let's assume that somehow this thing is not going to be political as they are trying to make it looks like that it should be for the interest of everybody. While some others are saying that it's a political tool that is being used to win hook the APC candidate, especially. So we don't know what is going on, but at the end of the day, we just hope that we get to, deal with this issue and get over it. So that is it. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for stopping by. Please don't forget to share and enlighten your people back home on the importance of this election and what this election stands for. So whichever candidate they really want to vote for, they should make sure it's that candidate that they think can actually change things for the better in that country. If not, we just remain in cycle on and on. And at that time, you have yourself to blame. So, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you've not. And please like our videos. God bless you. Share. God bless you all. Bye.